Flags across Minnesota are flying at half-staff to honor 2 officers and a firefighting medic shot and killed in Burnsville on Sunday. This is a live look outside Burnsville City Hall, where a memorial for those 3 first responders has been growing ever since.
Here are the victims: Officers Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge, both 27 years old. 40-year-old Adam Finseth was a firefighter and paramedic and was part of the SWAT team responding to the home.
Just a few hours ago, a procession brought Finseth from the Hennepin County Medical Examiner's office in Minnetonka to a funeral home in Jordan, Minnesota. You can see the emergency vehicles lined the entire drive there. And in the last hour, the Minnesota BCA confirmed the man who shot and killed those first responders is Shannon Cortez Gooden. We've learned through court documents he was not allowed to have firearms in the state of Minnesota.
We have team coverage tonight and more on that in just a minute. We're going to find out who these first responders were as people and what was going on inside the home as officers closed in. First, let's go back to where everything unfolded on Sunday.
Everything started just before 2 o'clock Sunday morning. Burnsville police responded to a domestic call where an armed suspect had barricaded himself inside a home with family, including 7 kids ages 15 and under. There were hours of negotiations before officers were first reported down around 5:30 a.m. 2 Burnsville police officers, Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge, both just 27 years old, were killed. The third person was firefighter paramedic Adam Finseth. He was just 40 years old and part of the SWAT team responding to the standoff. A fourth first responder, Sergeant Adam Medlicott, was injured but is expected to survive.
I confirmed through multiple sources that police responded to the Burnsville home because Shannon Gooden's girlfriend, who lived with him there, called 911 early that morning to report child abuse. There were 7 children living in that home. 3 of them Gooden had with his ex-girlfriend, Noemi Torres. Now, Noemi spoke with me today about the abuse she suffered at Gooden's hands, what her children witnessed inside the home that night, and how they're now dealing with the aftermath.
And she was like, you need to come pick the kids up.
Noemi Torres received a text message from the girlfriend of her ex-boyfriend, Shannon Gooden.
This was a dangerous person.
About the nightmare unfolding on 33rd Avenue in Burnsville early Sunday morning. Noemi says 3 of her children she shared with Gooden were in the house as Gooden began shooting at police and first responders.
She said that she ran into the bathroom and he just started open firing, and she actually got a glass shard hit her.
Hearing the story later from her 14-year-old daughter, Noemi learned how close her children were to dying.
It was just like, you wasn't scared at all? She was like, no. I was like, did you get a scare at any point in time? She was like, after my dad had asked me, like, do you want to come with me? And I was just like...
And when he said come with, does that mean come with to die?
Yeah. Yeah.
Noemi says her daughter and another teen were in the room when Gooden killed himself. During her abusive relationship with Gooden, Noemi says he would threaten her that he would shoot police.
Whenever he thought that I would call the cops, like, to throw fear in me, he's like, I'm going to have a stand-up. I'm going to kill everybody, and I'm going to, you know, it's always been immortalizing like this fantasy of how he's gonna go.
Because of a felony conviction, Gooden was not allowed to possess firearms.
I found out about the guns yesterday.
Noemi had no idea the arsenal of weapons he had, which her kids and Gooden's girlfriend now tell her included rifles, handguns, and ammunition.
It's just a scary feeling to know that they weren't in that much danger. Like, I tried so hard to get them from their dad.
So often, on the losing end of their ongoing custody fight, Noemi's heart is broken by what Gooden did to the first responders and, in turn, to his family.
Even though their dad is this monster, you know, that's still their father. They loved, you know, they had unconditional love for him. And it hurts me because, like, somebody's so evil like that and they still get all the love from their children. My main focus is just to get their mental health in order, you know, because it's not gonna be like overnight. It's gonna be something that's an ongoing thing.
Now, Noemi actually had a custody hearing scheduled for tomorrow. They shared custody, but the kids stayed with their dad 2/3 of the time as ordered by a judge. Julie.
Absolutely tragic. Thank you, Lou.
Tonight we're learning so much more about the men behind the badges and who they were outside of their jobs in public service. That includes a friend of Adam Finseth who went through the intense EMS training with him. Heidi has that for us tonight. Heidi?
Randy, those who knew Adam Finseth describe him as selfless with an unwavering dedication to helping others. Adam had been with the city of Burnsville as a firefighter and paramedic since 2019. He was part of the public safety team's SWAT unit as well as a water rescue trainer. The 40-year-old was also part of the city's Health and Wellness Committee. Before joining the city of Burnsville, he served as a firefighter in Hastings and Savage, where he lived up until his death. He was a student in 2021 at the Tactical EMS School, an intense 6-day training camp.
Even before we could see that he had talents as a paramedic, that he was a good clinician, the first thing that we noticed was he always had a smile and a kind word. But they elected him as team leader, and it was apparent right away that his concern was for his teammates first and himself second.
Now, a friend of Adams says he was also a U.S. Army veteran, but above all, he was a beloved father and husband. The community in Rochester is also grieving tonight. Adam graduated from John Marshall High School in 2001. And for more now on the fallen officers, we're going to turn things over to Gordon Severson.
Yeah, I'm here at the Northwestern University in St. Paul, and this is where Officer Paul Helmstrand went to college and graduated. Professors tell me that before he even started taking classes, he already knew that he wanted to be a police officer. Professors tell me that for him, it was more than just a job. It was his purpose in life to serve other people and his community.
Paul had a clear sense of calling to be a peace officer, and he took it very seriously.
Professor Melissa Mork teaches psychology classes at the University of Northwestern. Many of those classes are required for criminal justice students like Paul Helmstrand.
He was fun. He was just a fun guy to have in class, a fun presence, and just a pleasure as a student.
A student who even wanted to learn outside the classroom. Burnsville police say while Helmstrand was in college, he was also working as a community service officer with their department. He was also involved in the Isanti County Law Enforcement Explorers program as a teenager.
He did all of the right things in his major and in his training. He took this so seriously, and he was so committed to the role.
Before going to Northwestern, Helmstrand was a 2015 graduate from Cambridge Isanti High School.
Well, Paul was an outstanding student here.
Retired Activities Director Mark Solberg says Helmstrand was his class president, was in the National Honor Society, ran cross country, and volunteered for their Link crew, where he helped incoming freshmen transition to life in high school.
Not surprising that he chose to be a police officer because he was serving here years ago.
And Minnesota State University Mankato has confirmed that Officer Matthew Ruge, who also died in the shooting, was a 2018 graduate of Mankato, and Sergeant Adam Medlicott, who was injured in the shooting, graduated in 2007. In a statement, the president of the university says, "In every corner of the world, Mavericks are doing incredible and sometimes dangerous work. On days like these, we must remember that even in dark times, our community is strong and resilient." Back to you.
All right, Gordon, thank you. Sergeant Medlicott's recovery at home tonight after being injured during this shooting. He is expected to be okay. Medlicott has a decorated career in law enforcement, holding several roles with Burnsville PD and being named Officer of the Year there in 2020.
When tragedy hits, Minnesotans jump in to help, but the city of Burnsville has a warning tonight about scammers. City officials are telling people who want to donate to help the officers' families to be careful where you're sending money. Any official donation pages will be posted later this week on the Burnsville City website. We will have a link to that at KARE11.com.
And we will be following this story as it develops. Stay with KARE 11 on air and online for the very latest on the tragedy in Burnsville.